Dear friends, welcome to Tech Nursery. In this video, I am going to explain what is the difference between React and React Native. First, I will explain what is React JS. React JS is a JavaScript library. That means it is a code of JavaScript. Somebody wrote in JavaScript. That is JavaScript library. Simple JavaScript code that is written by somebody. We can say simply like that. So React.js is a JavaScript library. JavaScript library means somebody wrote some codes in JavaScript. That's it in simple words. It is used for building user interfaces which we see on the browser. Text box, button, tables. So it is for user interfaces on the browser. So in simple words, React.js is a JavaScript library. That means a JavaScript codes in a file. Actually, if you read the React.js GitHub files, you can see that it's simply JavaScript codes, which is used to build user interfaces, interact with the user on the browser mainly. And it supports both front end web server side rendering. That means it can render on the front end on the browser, and server side rendering also it supports. That's a new point. And follow the concept of reusable components. That means once we write a component for a button, we can reuse it anywhere in our project. We don't need to write button component for one page, one cell location, and in another location we don't want. We can use this button component anywhere in our project. We can import that button component, so we can reuse it anywhere, anytime. So React.js is a JavaScript library used for building user interfaces, and it can render in the front end and server side rendering, and at the same time it can efficient development by using reusable component feature. Reusability is possible. Basically in browser it uses React DOM library for rendering. React.js library uses React DOM library for rendering on the browser. We know that React.js is used in many places, many frameworks. One of them is Gatsby, Nest.js, and React Native. This Gatsby, Nest.js, and React Native, etc. are the frameworks which uses this JavaScript React.js library. Inside this Gatsby, Nest.js, and React Native, if you read those GitHub codes for Gatsby, Nest.js, and React Native, you can see that React.js library is inside this framework. Same code you can see in all these frameworks for the React.js. So these frameworks uses this React.js library. Gatsby, Nest.js, and React Native are the frameworks which uses this React.js library. Especially when we discuss about React Native is a mobile framework. I already mentioned it is a framework which uses React.js library. React.js library it is a JavaScript library actually. When we talk about React Native is a mobile framework for building applications. We can build applications for Android, iOS, and Windows mobile using JavaScript. So React Native is a framework using React.js library which is used to build mobile applications on iOS, Android, and Windows. It allows developers to use React.js to build reusable components. We already know that React.js has a feature of reusable components. So when we use this React Native framework, which is already have inbuilt React.js library, so this reusability is possible in React Native also. So and at the same time, React Native communicate with the native mobile components. It can communicate directly to the native components of the mobile operating system like iOS, Android, and Windows. So when this React Native communicate directly to the native modules, native operating system level components like UI view, test, scroll view, all these native components we can communicate using React Native. So at the same time, for mobile applications, we can say that like React DOM in web browser, React Native is the renderer for the React JS in mobile development, mobile application development. It's a renderer. React Native is a renderer for React JS library in mobile application development. So, in nutshell, we can say that React JS is a JavaScript library. Library means a file somebody wrote in JavaScript language, which can be used for user interfaces. And it supports front-end and back-end side rendering. It's mainly used for web development. It has a concept of reusable components. It uses React DOM library for rendering on the browser. React.js used in many of the frameworks, especially Gatsby, Nest.js, and React Native. React Native is the renderer for React.js in mobile application development, like React DOM. React Native is a mobile development framework. It can build application on iOS, Android, and Windows. By using React.js inside React Native, it is also possible to use reusable components in React Native. React Native communicate directly to the native components in iOS and Android and Windows. So we can build mobile application using React Native as which looks like native applications, native like applications. So I hope this video, by watching this video, you got a basic understanding of what is React.js, what is React Native. Thank you.